So now let's look at our second theory, social control theory. So this theory suggests that people commit crime when the forces binding them to society are weakened or broken. So there are forces, there are conditions that keep us on track with conventional law-abiding behavior. But when those forces or those bonds are broken, then we might engage in criminal behavior. So this can apply again to middle or lower classes. Again, we can see where kids grow up in a good family and then the parents go through a divorce and then the child might start acting or engaging in criminal antisocial behavior because what was binding them to law-abiding behavior is now broken when the family goes through dissolution or divorce. So why do some people obey the rules? So again, we're combining multiple slides for this particular video clip. So why do people obey the rules? Well, you can ask yourself that personally and see if this fits. Well, self-control. A strong moral sense that makes someone incapable of hurting others or violating social norms. So sometimes there's an internal mechanism within us that keeps us from breaking the law. We're able to control ourselves because we possess a strong moral sense or conscience that keeps us from hurting others. That I'm kind of reminded of containment theory. If you had me for intro to sociology, I talked about containment theory, this idea that if a person has a strong superego, which is our conscience, we're less likely to engage in criminal behavior or act on our deviant impulses. So you're able to control yourself from doing bad things. And then there's a commitment to conformity. You are committed to conforming to the expectations and the rules of society. Not just society, but of the people that raise you, the people you admire and respect, let's say your family or your parents. So it develops with a strong commitment to conventional institutions like family, school, church, etc., individuals, and processes. You are committed to conforming to the expectations of your parents, the expectations of your educators. If you go to church or you're religious in any way, then you're committed to your religious beliefs. So your commitment to that level or that type of conformity is what keeps you from breaking the rules. So let's look at some contemporary social control theory. So this links the beginning of criminality to the weakening of ties that bind people to society. So there are 4 elements to this social bond. The first is attachment. Attachment to parents, especially parents that are law-abiding. If that bond gets broken, the person might turn to crime. A commitment to future goals. There are some kids that will say, oh no, I'm not hanging out with those kids, or I'm not doing certain things because I have a future ahead of me. I'm not going to do anything that messes up my future. And then there's a commitment to involvement. So there's a bond. Another element of the social bond is involvement. If you're involved in conventional behaviors such as school activities, sports, community, religion, etc. This is one of the problems with inner city communities where there's a lack of productive recreation for kids. There are some cities that have even implemented midnight basketball programs because when kids are out on the street and they have no place to go and they're just hanging in the streets with their friends, they can go to a recreation center and they can play basketball all night. And that keeps them off the street and that keeps them doing something productive. But you've seen in a lot of poor communities where there's a lack of or loss of tax revenue, when middle class families move out, that they don't have, libraries, they don't have recreation centers, they don't have a swimming pool. I remember when we were kids, we had something called the bookmobile, where this truck would come around and it was a mobile library, or they had the swimmobile and they had this huge truck that was this big pool, and kids would get in the truck and they would swim and have a good time because they were trying to bring productive recreational activities to keep kids from turning to crime. I even remember when I was younger, they had in the city of Detroit, they had the summer job program for kids. So when you got out of school in the summer, you could be as young as 13 or 14 years old and you would work and the city would pay you. So you clean up lots or you'd help out at daycare centers and stuff like that. And and you would make money that way. So these are some of the ways to get kids involved so that they don't turn to crime. And then there's beliefs. These are your own personal belief, your belief system, and which is another important element of that social bond that keeps you from turning to crime. So if you believe in the rule of law, if you believe in treating others in a fair and respectable way, then you're less likely to engage in